Homies, it's been a long time, but I'm excited to show you this new hack, this new concept. Very, very similar to what you already might know as the post call bridge concept, where we provide solutions to the prospect depending on kind of what is their sticking point, you know, something custom that gets money down but enables the sale to move on, the sales cycle to move on, rather than turn into a desperate follow up, right? But at the same time, there is a pre-bridge concept, and it's very similar in nature, right? And it's just using that customization aspect pre-call so that on the actual call with the closer or offer owner, you can present something that feels completely in line with what they're looking for, right? So this enables you to shorten your sales cycle, right? So if you sell on an offer that has, multiple products that you can offer, there's complexity in your pitches, long sales cycles, your 2, 3, 4 calls. This is not always bad things. I think we always get into our heads that everything needs to be this one call close, but long sales cycle is not a bad thing, but you can cut them down using this. If you sell an offer that has lots of information gathering, for you to come to a certain understanding to be able to pitch, and if you face kind of lots of prospect hesitancy, this can be helped massively. So the pre-bid concept allows offer owners or sales reps to effectively close prospects on the first call without resorting to confuse, let me think about your prospects, and drawn out sales cycles with 2 to 4 calls. Okay? Using, and I hate this word most of the time, value, but we use value-driven quizzes, which collects data that doesn't, and I say feel, like qualifying, right? And I say that because we often want to qualify prospects, right? Especially through setter calls, SDR calls, even on closer calls. And the funny thing is we all know that we get friction from it if you don't know how to do it kind of subtly. And prospects hate it as well, because a lot of the time, if you put yourself in their shoes, the reason they push back is because they're thinking, wait a minute, I know, most of the time, I know nothing about what you guys do. I'm just kind of getting on this call to learn because it's a free strategy session. And you are just out of the gates trying to qualify me, and it puts a bad taste in their mouth. But at the same time, qualifying and understanding these kind of things is essential, right? So you've got to be able to do this stuff in a subtle way, right? And that can be done through quizzes, and it can be done in another way, which I can show you. So it's data collection that doesn't feel like qualifying. So we can use routed Calendly applications. We can use go high level quizzes that are embedded. And then this enables us to have kind of tailored and custom pitches that meet the prospect on their level. All right. So how does it work? Now, it actually can work in many, many ways. I'm just giving you 2 examples here. So the first one is kind of like you have a setter call, and it's not very heavy on the qualifying side. Okay. It's more value driven, giving them information, letting them feel heard. And then when you face or you come to a conclusion of, okay, there is some alignment here, we want to move to a closer call, we use the pre-bridge concept, which in this sense might be a quiz. And then on the closer call, they're able to show a custom pitch, okay, based on that pre-bridge concept, which I'll show you. Second way is Calendly form to book a call. And I've put in brackets no friction. What I mean by that is a lot of us want to qualify on these Calendly forms, and that's fine. It can be done. But at the same time, we all know the more kind of questions you put in there, the more qualifying you put in there before they even fucking know anything. This is why I'm a big proponent of don't have a lot of your information, your quality information on what you do and how you do it. Don't have that behind Calendly forms. Don't have it so that people have to book a call before they can read that stuff. Because what happens is they have no choice other than to book a call, even though they don't even feel like they want one. So they book a call, then get to read that stuff, and then they've got what they wanted and they don't turn up. You might as well give people all of this information, have it readily available for people before they even need to book a call, right? Then you'll have more prospects there who are there on the call knowing what the fuck you do. So this one, Calendly form to book a call, no friction. So making the Calendly form incredibly simple, as least amount of questions as possible to get that booking. And then that moves to a thank you page quiz, right? So we all know what we do. We all book a call, and then it always goes to a thank you. You're booked now. We'll see you on Thursday, right? But you can actually use that next kind of landing page, and this is used by some offers and some not. But you can use that thank you page to actually, again, provide more value. You do another post call, kind of a post booking VSL. There's so many things you can do to help the prospects on that level. But a thank you page quiz, and I've put in brackets friction disguised, because the concept of a quiz is more value driven towards the prospect, right? So they're filling it out because in return they're going to get something of value, right? And so now you can take the concept of, like, if you have a Calendly form with all of these questions, they're like, hey, is this too much? You don't get the book's call. Whereas if you do this thank you page kind of quiz and it's titled in a way that they think, oh yeah, that's going to help, then you can start to actually understand a lot, like collect a lot of data, right? So if you're on a complex offer, you can collect so much data at this stage. And you can also qualify them, but in a way where it doesn't feel like it, because it's kind of value driven, right? Which then results in a tailored pitch closer call, like I mentioned before. At the end of the day, all of this comes down to a more tailored pitch on the closer call. Now, I was speaking with the students today about this. It does not mean that every single kind of closer call you have has to be a massively different deck, or everything that you don't need to put a huge amount of effort in. A lot of the decks that you show might be very similar, but what prospects do like is if you're able to, like, even in a very minimal way, is brand things to them. Use some of the information you've got from them to customize some aspects, right? And very quickly you get into this realm of they're seeing something on the screen that doesn't feel like a general overview of what you show everyone. It feels like you're talking to them, right? So how does done that? Student / my examples. Okay, so I'm just going to show you straight away the first one that I've been implementing really well. A high key PR example. It's quite complex in the sense that when I show you this, you don't need to do all of this, and there's a simple one below that Davi is using. But on this in this example, book a call, no friction, thank you page quiz, custom synopsis and pitch deck. Okay, why did we do this? Well, the problem was there was a long sales cycle. Okay, huge amounts of different products to pitch, lots of data gathering. Just ended up meaning when we were on that kind of first call, the first closer call, even though we would have a setter call that would collect, quite good data and stuff like that, setter calls are never going to be massively good for data gathering, and there was still lots of work to do on those first calls, and then you have to bring in other business partners, and it's like a long drawn out complex sales system. Okay, so if I show you this, what we'd do is a normal Calendly form, less friction, and then when they click enter to book the call, they would land on this page. Okay, it's just a thank you page, right? But you can customize this, and this is using Go High Level. Okay, but it's step 3. And so the PR offer here was like, hey, use PR to attract investors. Okay, so people would it would pique their interest, but there's a big education side of this. They're like, hey, that makes sense. I would like that, but I don't really know. You even get intelligent people who just really don't know how that works. Like people know PR, but they don't know PR, right? And so there was a huge, element of education here where it's like, if we didn't do this, you get on the call and they're still in that learning phase because they don't understand, and they're coming to the call like, hey, like, how does that even fucking work? And if you have prospects like that, you are not going to be closing many people on that first call. You want to get education really handled so they understand the concept and how that works, and then when they get on the call, that's done. So when it lands here, take the quiz to find the best PR solution to attract investors before your call. They're like, well, yeah, this makes so much fucking sense. They're going to get value from this, right? So I'll go through some of the questions with you. So what stage is your business currently at, right? So there's many options, and it shows that it's not just like a certain company. If you're just starting out, or you are working towards an IPO, etc., all of those apply. Next, what's your company's unique offer? So this would be very helpful because people expand on what makes them unique, and that can be really helpful because when you create some kind of custom pitch, you can use this unique offer, right? So they would do that, and they click next. Which round describes you best, right? So you're raising money. Which round are you in? Pre-seed, all the way up to IPO and other, right? What's your primary goal for attracting investors? Is it seed funding for initial launch, expansion capital, strategic partnerships, R&D, acquisitions, real estate, working capital, right? You start to now actually leverage ourselves, that we, just by asking these types of questions, puts us in a certain position. How would you describe your target investors? So this is really important when it comes to PR. Because if you're looking at corporate investors or private equity, let's say, in PR, those guys are reading certain publications in certain niches. So that enables us to create a very structured, a very custom pitch, right? Because if I know who they're trying to target exactly, what those people are reading, it becomes very easy to pitch something custom, right? How do you want to be perceived by investors, right? So as a brand with compelling and unique story, stable investment, guaranteed returns, rapidly growing, right? And you can choose many. Do you want to leverage PR to target anyone else besides investors? Some people want to use PR to target their customers as well, so they can do that. What would your approach be to handling media opportunities? All exposure is good. I'm ready to take them all. I'm very picky, right? So that gives us also understanding of what type of opportunities to bring them. And then this is a big one, guys, because everyone tries to fucking understand budget on STR calls, setter calls, closer calls. And it's like, obviously it's needed, right? You need to understand what they're working with. You need to understand if they're broke. But at the same time, everyone's met with a lot of friction when they do this, And so if you don't word it correctly, you're just going to be hit with, oh, I haven't got a budget. It depends what you give me. Obviously, dickhead, obviously, right? But they do have limits. And so you've got to ask in a correct way. And this, honestly, guys, like, everyone should use this way. Even if it's through a quiz or just on the phone, like, or whatever you want. So it's like, in terms of your potential, that's a big word there, potential investment. I'm not saying it's a given, but in terms of your potential investment with us, would you be open to advice based on our expertise? So that's leveraging us. We're up here. Do you want to just take our advice because we know best? Or do you have any constraints that we should be considering? Right, so this is a soft way of understanding the budget. Less than 50, less than 100, less than 250. I have an open budget. I'll take your advice. And then I put in little here, bearing in mind the average client invests between 5 and 150k with us, right? Extra. But anyway, what you'll find is people with money tend to choose that option a lot more. I have an open budget. I'm open to your advice. Because in that sense, they're saying, hey, you guys obviously know what you're doing. Like, I'm kind of open because if you tell me to invest 250k, that's because you guys think that's going to be the best return for me, right? And then the final question, are you interested in a service that books meetings with your exact profile of investor, right? Yes, perfect. First name, last name, and then next with email, etc. right? Then all of that data automatically gets put into Go High Level Notes, right? And then what we would do from there is take those notes, put them into ChatGPT, and create, like, you literally can, here are the results from my prospects quiz, create a custom synopsis or custom pitch tailored to what they're trying to achieve, right? And literally ChatGPT would do it. And I'll give you an example here. So, here's one we've done for a client. It's branded at the top, and then the first page is about High Key and what we do, and then it's all about the client. So the client brief, the reasons for wanting press, and this is just taken from the quiz. How they want to be perceived by investors, target keywords for optimization, interests and topics to speak on, possible newsworthy angles. ChatGPT is doing it all. Suggested publications. So you'll see, like, below is a compilation of publications that could be strategically targeted to elevate the company's visibility, attract venture capital firms, private equity and institutional investors, right? Dope. And then it's like, okay, title, venture capital firms, private equity and institutional investors, we should be targeting TechCrunch, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Bloomberg Technology, right? So it's just like really custom to them. Targeting customers and clients, targeting broader audiences, targeting data management and AI, cloud computing, right? And so instead of getting on that closer call, not knowing this, and like trying to ask all these questions to understand, meaning I can't show anything custom on that first call, it's going to have to be another call, But then you're risking, if they haven't seen anything custom that they feel matches them on the first call, you risk not having them on a second call and dropping off, right? And so this is put together in 2 minutes, but the prospect comes to call, sees this, and it's like, whoa, you guys like put in the work, And so now you can see how this can cut down a sales cycle massively, because all I've done is understand them on a deep level prior to that first call. And I've even understood budget as well, which is a big one for everyone. So I also know when it comes to pricing and pitching a package, I also know where to go with that, right? There's a few more examples here, and I'll just describe. So Davi in who's doing Level Up runs Doctor's Coaching Offer. Now this is a pre-bridge concept, but in a simple manner, right? So not complex. So all it would be is we moved from book in for the call and first call, trying to understand them massively, and then pitch, which I call square pegs round holes, because if you don't know enough, you're trying to do a lot of things on that first call, right? So what we did is move it to 2 calls, where it would be first call is kind of a setup call, and on that setup call, understand the budget properly, because this is going to be used for the second call and pitching something custom. So set a call, understand budget subtly, as I've shown you, then close a call, custom pitch deck. And I believe last week, he had 7 out of 8 closers doing this method, right? So what was the problem? Square pegs, round holes, and understanding the budget effectively. So it's very tough. This is how we kind of worded it on the call. Okay, bearing in mind, this is like a Zoom meeting, set a call. And we'd say something along these lines, so we work on a pretty big scale to essentially meet clients where they are at. On average, clients pay us on bottom end 3K as a one-off, all the way up to 25, 30K, and everything in between. So with the second call in mind, John, what I want to ask you is, would you be open to advice based on just our expertise here, or do you have any constraints that we should consider? Right, so now they know this whole range, and they can say, hey, yeah, just you advise, because like I'm kind of happy for you to just show what would be best. Or in this sense, it gives them this open kind of space to just say, no, actually, I ain't spending 20K. Right, so they might say, yeah, well, do you know what? I really don't want to be spending over 15K on this. So like, look at your options from the bottom to there, right? Really, really fucking good information. And do you know what? The reason why we got 7 out of 8 closes is because on that next call, what we actually created was 2 different decks. Okay, so it didn't take too much time. You have one deck that would be like all of the coaching options, kind of like, your 10K and above. And then another, which would be more like a starter package, which would be like the bottom end, right? So when we get this answer, like, yeah, cool, no issues, book the second call. Then we come to the second call knowing all of this information, pitching a product and a deck that fits in line with them. And you can change the deck, you can customize it, their branding, their name, shit like that, right? And it feels completely on their level. Another student, crowdfunding offer, same kind of thing, book a call, no friction, thank you page quiz, then custom branded pitch with tailored aspects. So we just quiz example, before we embark on an exciting journey, let's get to know your project better. Please answer the following question with as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing so that our senior advisor can present you with a custom proposal on your next call. What inspired you to start this project? Do you have a company name or logo? What stage is your project currently at? What is your funding goal? Tell us about your project. What categories fit into it, right? Getting all this info so that on that first closer call, it is damn straight in line with what they need to see, right? And if you guys want to say like, hey, I'm looking for yes or no, you best be giving them custom information. If you want to be saying and looking for a decision, you best be handling education, right? And this whole concept will do that for you. Let me know what you think.